Hello there, everyone. Sorry, just about a minute behind schedule here. Hope you all had a great weekend. What great weather we had, at least here in Wisconsin, for our Easter gatherings, if that is what you found yourself doing this weekend. We had a great group gathering up at our lake home with my husband's side of the family, and it's loud and chaotic and crazy, and I love it every year when all of our siblings and nieces and nephews and aunts and uncles and the whole big gang all can get together and hang out for a day and just be together. It's really kind of awesome. All right, so we are heading into the home stretch of ending our catalog for the mini catalog from the July. I keep wanting to call it July. The January to April mini catalog is in its home stretch. Last month to get through that. Of course, we've seen the retirement lists going through. So hopefully you are paying attention to that. If there's anything that you wanted, make sure you grab it ASAP. Things sell out fast. And especially with a color change, we are going to have a lot of colors, obviously, that were coming and going. And so things like refills and cardstock and all that stuff's going to disappear pretty quickly. So keep an eye on that retirement list. It changes. Inventory changes all the time as far as what's left. And once it's gone, it's gone. And you don't want to miss out on anything like that. So, hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining me tonight. If you have any questions ever, like, hey, is this still available? Shoot me an email, give me a call, whatever you need me to do. I'm happy to look that information up for you. All right. So before I get too much into the list, make sure you have your paper trimmer handy. We are going to be doing a little trim down of that designer series paper piece that I had you cut. It was easier just to do it all together on camera than to try to get it all done together while we met. Sorry, I haven't used my voice for a little while. I kind of feel a little scratchy or something. I'm just going to go ahead and mount up my phrase before we get started. Okay. My sample for on camera plus my stepped up version plus another version actually. I use this Rhino Ready stamp set that can be found in the online exclusives. It comes with a matching or coordinating die set. So all these little cute little guys can get cut out, the birds, the little grass, and even his little party favor. And there's also, I think, a bonus birthday cap and some trees and things like that. So fun little set. And I've been having a great time pairing it with the Enjoy the Journey designer series paper that has kind of the sunrise and sunsets looking stuff going through it. So I did some fun things with that, and that's what I'm using tonight. I did forget to see if that paper is still available because that is on the retirement list. That designer series paper, that is the Enjoy the Journey. It's in the mini catalog. So I will double check before I post tonight and see if that is still available so that you guys know if it is. All right, so again, Rhino Ready is going to make an appearance tonight. Okay, so like I said before, please have a paper trimmer handy. You need a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/4 by 11 and then scored at 5 1/2, which would be halfway through that long side. I'm using Melon Mambo tonight because that is one of the colors that is in the piece of designer series paper I grabbed. Again, I was using Enjoy the Journey, and it has some really neat papers that are kind of variegated, and they look like sunsets and sunrises over the mountaintops and things like that. So I think that one was really kind of cool. So that's where my Melon Mambo came from. And that piece is going to be 3 by 4 1/4. I did say for you guys, non-directional is probably best, only just because it's easy to keep track of your the top and bottom and things like that. Mine will be easier to judge again because I can tell by the variations of color how this is going to go back together. So like I said, we're going to end up cutting this a little bit in just a minute. All right, you need a neutral piece that is 3/4 of an inch wide, and I would say about 2 to 2 1/4 long by the time you're done with it. Once you have your phrase on it and maybe some trimming or something that you want to be doing, that's going to be for your phrase. And then some kind of focal point, whether you did a die cut or a fussy cut image or punched something out or whatever. I went ahead and did one of the little rhinos from Rhino Ready. There he is right there. And I colored him in with some blends and then used my die, the die that, oh, thank you for checking for me, Kathy. That's great to know. It is really a really cool pack of paper. If you haven't seen it, go take a look at it. It's a really cool one. Excuse me. So there he is. That's my focal point for tonight. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab that paper trimmer. I'm going to set these guys off to the side for a second. Don't lose my little rhino. Okay, so grab your paper trimmer, and we're going to cut it into 4 equal rectangles, basically. So you are going to do the first cut. So this width here is 3 inches. So half of that for you is going to be 1.5. So go ahead, slide that into your paper trimmer. I'm going to move this up a little bit so you can actually see where I am. 1.5 there. Okay, so there's my 1.5. Now each of these is going to go in half again. Since it's 4.25, you want 2 1/8 is the dimension that we are going to cut this guy. So that's 2, and then if you have the 16th markings, it's going to be 2 little notches over. So that's 2 1/8 for that. And I'm just going to lay that back out in the same pattern that I had it in. And again, 2 1/8. And depending on what kind of trimmer you have or that you were using, you could have stacked them on top of each other, had the same cut at the same time. Just depends on how good yours is as far as getting through that paper and stuff like that. I just wanted to make sure that I had it didn't shift on me at all when I was cutting. All right, so go ahead and grab your card base, and let's grab a bone folder and give that a good crease. Now, before you actually tape anything down, I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. So these are going to sit on top of your cardstock with a little gap in between them. And you're going to basically try to center the 4 pieces, okay? So you're going to be leaving an equal gap around, in between as you're going both ways. And then a wider edge will be around the outside. So if you just kind of lay it down very gently, you can remove one at a time. There's the other side of that paper. Isn't that kind of fun? There's some really neat colors in this Enjoy the Journey Designer Series paper. I'm kind of glad I picked this one up. It was actually I picked it up during Celebration when they added it to the freebies. I hadn't gotten it before that point. And so that was kind of a fun little bonus. Who doesn't like free stuff, right? All right, so you're going to tape down those 4 rectangles using whatever adhesive you grabbed tonight. Like so. All right, so there you go. You've got your 4 rectangles with, like I said, equal spacing this way, and then the larger rim that way. All right, and remember, if you have a darker cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and put a neutral panel in the inside of this later, so that's going to be a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of neutral. So if you're using white or vanilla or whatever it is for your neutral, and you want to be able to stamp on it or something like that a little bit easier later, go ahead and add that for your inside whenever you're ready. Okay, so I'm going to take a phrase from Brian already that says, "It's a great day." And I'm going to go ahead and put that on my strip of cardstock. Like I said, it's about a 3/4 inch width. And then whatever phrase you grab, you're just going to trim off what you don't need. Okay, so there's my "It's a great day." And at this point, you can do a couple different things. If you want to just keep both edges straight up, just do a little trim here so that you have it equally. I'm going to show you guys again how to do that little flag cut. So I'm going to do a little extra over here. And then one of the easiest ways to do the flag cut is to cut up the middle first, and then cut from the corners to where you cut up that middle point. And then you have a little flagged piece. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and place that down. Now you can use, at this point, if you want to use some dimensionals, please feel free. I will show you everything on this initial sample just a flat down, and then as my samples go through, I'll point out where I might have raised something up or something like that. Okay, so my little flag piece is going to sit in the middle over here, and then I'm just going to add my focal point off to the side. And you can decide, depending on how long your phrase is, how big your focal point is, you might want to rearrange how these guys are laid out, whether they're together in the middle, if they're alternating between sides, if you have your phrase going across something. I'll show you a few later when my phrase is a little longer and I have it sitting across some of my image and that sort of thing. So it's kind of an easy layout to do with some scrap, DSP even. You could use different ones if you wanted to, depending on, get them all coordinated up. So that is the basic of tonight's layout. Let's see, he wants to pop up a lot, doesn't he? Let's see if I can get that crease a little better. You gonna behave now? There we go, that's better. Okay, so let me show you a couple other samples doing the same thing. Now, all of the DSP in here is from Enjoy the Journey. So it's either from, again, you know, the double-sided, obviously. So here's another pattern that has just a little bit of geometric part to it. This die is from the, I have it written down here, Brushed Shapes die collection. There's a heart, there's this circle, there's some squiggles, just some fun little shapes. It is on the retirement list, so I'll double check that one as well. And this comes from Celebrating You, which is, I believe, on the retirement list as well. So I'll double check on the status of that as well. This is espresso, and I believe the base of this is in the crushed curry is the base of that DSP right there. So a little bit more masculine flair to it, a little darker with our color combo. Again, from the Celebrating You, I took a Father's Day message and the Celebrating Deer stamp set. So I stamped him and colored him in with some blends and then punched him out with the Deer Punch, the Deer Builder Punch. There we go. And again, the same designer series paper pack as the Enjoy the Journey. For more of the online exclusives, I grabbed the Tropical Leaf bundle. So there's leaves and some stems in there, a couple really fun phrases. And you can see here, I took this one, it's a little bit longer, and I actually fussy cut that. I thought it was kind of fun to follow the shapes of the letters, or the script of that as it was written out. And so I just stamped and punched out the leaf and then laid that over the top there. So like I said, it kind of covers up some of the imagery here. You can see this one is, the focal point is definitely the phrase. This one kind of goes in combination. I've got the flag going the other direction. So you guys can play with these layouts, you know, of your, especially your phrases and all the things like that, depending on what you're using. Now you can see here, I did another layer, and same thing with this one. And that layer is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Once you cut those into the 4 shape, or to the 4 equal parts, then they will lay out nicely on another layer for you to then put onto your cardstock. So if you want to have a little more focus, it draws the focus to the paper a little more, the designer series paper, depending on what you want to be doing. So you can see this one really blends closely because I chose to follow the color palette of the paper itself. And here I definitely made a difference by using the espresso against the curry. It really pops out that DSP, and I didn't need to have anything extra. But I kind of like the focus of the espresso and the garden green drawing in a little bit of a different part of the imagery there. Here's another one with the rhino, and this is the Coastal Cabana color. And again, this is one side from the brush, or the Enjoy the Journey. What I thought was kind of humorous is I found this piece that this part here reminded me of the rhino horn. Just that little streak that's coming through the DSP there. And then I thought it could be kind of fun to play with the imagery that's a part of it. So that's 2 different pieces of the little grass that were stamped and colored and then die cut. The die did the work there, so that was really easy. And then same with him, I colored him and used the die cut to cut him out. So he's kind of hiding behind the grass there. And I used this phrase here, hope your birthday is wild, but I broke it up into its parts and spread it across the whole thing. And I used one of the pick-a-punches to add a little accent to each end. All right, let me move some of these guys out of the way. So again, that was Rhino Ready. And the Tropical Leaf, these are online exclusives. This is some of the retiring product. I will double check and see what's still available. Make sure that I will let you know if they are. So Peaceful Deer and the Celebrating You and the shapes. So from the same designer series paper, Pete, it's actually the same piece of paper. You had kind of like the sunrise and the sunset versions of the color palette. So this one is the golds and the oranges. And I have the same die cut same image, I should say. And I added some extra pieces from the die set itself. So there's one of the little trees in the background, and I did the You're Built Tough this time instead of the It's a Great Day. All right. Oh, that is on black cardstock, so that's probably hard to see. Let me try that again. There you go. That's a little bit easier to see off the black cardstock off of that. So there you go. That is the layout for tonight. Like I said, it's kind of a fun way to use your designer series paper. Just chop it up a little bit differently. And again, if you need the measurements, we took that piece that was 3 by 4 1/4. We cut it in half both directions. So you did a cut at 1 1/2 across this side, and you did the cut at 2 1/8 along the long side. And then if you want to put it on a layer, like I did with this guy here, or the green one down here, the layer is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And I will put that into the notes of the post after this, and then when it gets transferred to YouTube, it'll be in the notes of that as well. All right. Well, that was really quick. Wow. It's only like 6:45. I guess I didn't have a whole lot of extra to chat about tonight. Thanks again for joining me, guys. I always love being here with you every Monday night and getting your inky fun in with me. See, I managed to get a little bit of ink on my fingers. That's always a good sign, right? All right, everybody, have a great week. If you have this nice, beautiful spring weather finally like we do, enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. I think it was like 74 here today around the Madison area. It was amazing. Our kids were so excited to go out without jackets. And I think one of the kids even had their shorts on today going to school. So really great to be able to enjoy some of this springtime weather finally showing up here in Wisconsin. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your week. I will see you here again next Monday for another Make It With Me Monday. Take care.